You are watching New York Giants Now by Chat Sports. And before we get into today's video, guys, I need you to help me out. Like this video if you want Jason Garrett fired. Last time we did this on a video, we broke the channel record, 260 likes. This time I'm hoping for 400 likes. So go down and smash that like button if you want Jason Garrett out of here. Welcome into New York Giants Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Marshall Green, and in today's show, we're going to talk about Jason Garrett and if he should get fired, the hot seat for Dave Gettleman and Joe Judge, and Evan Engram trade rumors. Should the New York Giants trade Evan Engram right before the NFL trade deadline? We're going to get into that all in 1 second, but first, I want to talk about Jason Garrett. These are where the New York Giants offense ranks with Jason Garrett since he took over before the 2020 NFL season. Yards to go on third down, last in the NFL. Points per game, second to last in the NFL. Explosive plays, second to last in the NFL. Points per drive, second to last in the NFL. Yards per play, fourth worst in the NFL. And guys, it gets worse. Red zone TD percentage, 31st in the NFL. Total yards per play, 31st in the NFL. Kind of a recurring theme here, don't you say? Sacks allowed, 29th in the NFL. Offensive penalties, 29th as well. And third down conversion rate, 29th. You can say it. Since Jason Garrett has taken over the play calling duties of this New York Giants offense, it has been an absolute disaster. And we have more stats for you guys. But before we get into that, I want to ask you this question. Be honest with me. Should the New York Giants fire Jason Garrett? If you think they should, go down in the comments and type your F for fire. And if you want to keep the guy so he can clap on the sideline, go down in the comments and type your K for keep. Joe Judge, following the loss to the Atlanta Falcons, he was asked about Jason Garrett and this offense and where they're going to go from this. He had this to say. We're going to stay consistent with what we're doing and keep improving as a team. There's a lot of things we need to clean up coaching-wise, execution-wise, but we're going to stay on the track with it and make sure we get those things right before making any radical changes. Obviously, game plan-wise, we'll make some adjustments. We'll do some things that we think can improve more. We'll obviously dive into a couple of focal points to make sure that we finish in the red zone. That's been something we have to do, obviously, better as a team. I want to show you guys this graphic. What Daniel Jones did under Pat Shurmur in his rookie year in the NFL and what he's done under Jason Garrett through 17 games. With 13 games with Pat Shurmur, he completed about 62% of his passes, threw for just over 3,000 yards, 24 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions. And that's what I want to focus on. 24 touchdowns through the air for Daniel Jones and 13 games with Pat Shurmur, and only 13 passing touchdowns in 17 games with Jason Garrett. It is embarrassing for Daniel Jones that he has played his best football under Pat Shurmur. Jason Garrett, he was supposed to come in and develop Daniel Jones like he did with Dak Prescott, and that simply has not happened. Jason Garrett, if anything, has made it harder on Daniel Jones since he's come in and called plays for the New York Giants. Receivers, they don't create separation, and that's because of the game plan. That's not because of the personnel. This Giants offensive coordinator and Jason Garrett, he never puts the Giants players in position to win. It's simply line up from across your man and be better than him. And with a quarterback like Daniel Jones and these Giants weapons, you simply cannot do that. That is just unfair to this offense. If you guys want to stay up to date on everything surrounding the New York Giants, go down and hit that big red button for me. The season may be over. The Giants may be 0-3, but we will cover everything around the Giants leading up into the NFL draft and onward. The Giants, they will have 2 top 10 picks in the 2022 NFL draft, and as the NFL draft gets closer and Giants news and rumors continue to pop off, we will have videos daily on this channel. So if you want to stay up to date and watch those videos, go down and hit that big red button. Evan Engram, he continues to disappoint year after year. This offseason, I drank the Kool-Aid. I thought this was going to be the year that Evan Engram finally showed why he was the first-round draft pick out of Ole Miss, but he continues to not prove that. The NFL trade deadline, November 2nd, just a few weeks away, and everyone is talking about it. Should the Giants trade Evan Engram? Engram is entering the last year on his rookie contract, and it might be time for the Giants to move off of him. When Evan Engram caught a pass in the second quarter, right before halftime, and fumbled, fans started to boo him, which is expected. But then in the third quarter, when he was taken out of the games, fans started to cheer. It is just toxic energy surrounding Evan Engram, and it is time for him to get a change of scenery and try to get his career on track. But most importantly, the Giants, they need to try to get something back for him before he walks in free agency. Engram, he was asked about those boos and the fumble following the Falcons game this past Sunday. He said this: obviously, it's not ideal, and it's something that you don't want to see or hear. But my focus is playing better football for my teammates and my team and giving our supporters something to cheer about. The fans, they deserve to see good football. They deserve to see winning football. They're honest fans, they're passionate fans, and they deserve to see a good product on the field. And Evan Engram, you are absolutely right about that. And the Giants, they looked much better on offense when you weren't on the field. And it's time, fellas. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to trade Evan Engram. He's not going to re-sign with the Giants in NFL free agency coming up this NFL offseason. You need to trade him so you can get something in return. Better to get a late 2022 NFL draft pick or a potential backup offensive lineman that a team may be willing to part ways for Evan Engram. And you don't want to wait until the NFL trade deadline to make this move. You need to make this move now so the Giants can build off of it and try to get some chemistry on offense without Evan Engram. And if you're able to get a player on the offensive line, whether it's a backup offensive lineman or a starting one, you need that player to come in and contribute, because the offensive line woes continue to be something to monitor and something I'm very, very upset about. But I want to hear what you guys have to say. Go down in the comments and be active for me. Would you trade Evan Engram if you were Dave Gettleman? If you would, go down and type your Y's for yes in the comments. Or if you want to keep on to him and sign him in the offseason, go down and type your N for no. Joe Judge, Dave Gettleman, and Jason Garrett are all on the hot seat following Week 3 versus the Atlanta Falcons. The second year in a row this regime has started 0-3. The Giants front office, John Mara and the Giants front office, spent way too much money this offseason, and they did that with the plan to win this season. They didn't make those moves so this Giants team could start 0-3 and be out of the playoff race before the season even got started, and that's what happened. The New York Giants, they could have 2 top 10 picks heading into the 2022 NFL Draft, and you have to decide if you're John Mara and the Tisch family. Do you want Dave Gettleman and Joe Judge making those decisions, or do you want to reset and hit the bell and start with a new GM and a new head coach to kickstart the rebuild and the retool job with 2 top 10 picks in the 2022 NFL Draft? Under Dave Gettleman, the New York Giants are 15-36. It has been an absolute disaster since Dave Gettleman has taken over. And the offseason that hurt him the most was the 2018 NFL offseason. I want to read you guys exactly what happened in that offseason, because it is simply just unacceptable. In 2018, his first move when he took over as the New York Giants GM was trading for Alec Ogletree. He gave up a 4th and a 6th round pick. His next move, he traded Jason Pierre-Paul, a New York Giants champion, someone that had resurrected their career with the Tampa Bay Bucks and brought them a championship, and was a tool on that defensive line that was able to get after opposing offenses in the playoffs. Then he drafted Saquon Barkley. I wasn't mad at the pick. I'm not ready to hate the pick, but there are a lot of people that were skeptical about it then, and there are reasons why now that show that that was a bad pick. Then he signed Nate Solder to a 4-year, $62 million deal worth $34.8 million in guarantees. Nate Solder, it's been a miss. He's been absolutely terrible. It's time for the Giants to bench him and let Matt Peart get reps at the right tackle spot. Then he signed Jonathan Stewart to a 2-year, $6.8 million deal, who eventually ended up retiring halfway through that NFL season. Absolutely criminal. Jonathan Stewart was supposed to mentor Saquon Barkley. I'm sure he needed that. Then you signed outside linebacker Kareem Martin to a 3-year, $21 million deal with $7.5 million in guarantees. He lasted just 1 season with the New York Giants, and then they parted ways for him. Then the last move in the 2018 NFL offseason that was putrid on top of all these other ones was signing offensive guard Patrick Omameh to a 3-year, $15 million deal. He got benched halfway through his first season with the New York Giants, and they parted ways with him after just one year. Enough of Dave Gettleman. I'm tired of talking about him. I hope he gets fired as soon as possible. But I want to talk about Judge now. What does Joe Judge do at a high level when it comes to being a head coach? His time management, not very good. His aggressiveness on going for it on fourth down when the data tells you need to go for it. He doesn't do that very well. He doesn't challenge very well. In week 1, he threw a challenge flag after a scoring play, which caused the Giants to call a timeout. I'm sick of Joe Judge. He needs to show me that he does something at an above average level, because everything he does has shown that he is not ready to be an NFL head coach. Joe Judge, he had this to say after the Falcons loss, continuing the same things he always says, the good old happy-go-lucky guy. A lot of things that we saw positive that we worked on throughout the week, coming out of the Washington week, showed up in the game in a positive way. Read the room, Joe. This is just untrue. The Falcons were giving up 40 points per game through the first 2 weeks of the NFL season, and the Giants were only able to score 14 points after playing on Thursday night and having 10 days to prepare for this Atlanta Falcons offense. Just absolutely unacceptable. I'm tired of hearing Joe Judge say he's proud of these guys, and they did well. And that's not true, because when you lose, it's okay to tell someone they suck. And right now, this New York Giants team, they suck. Plain and simple. The Giants, a sign of a bad team is finding ways to lose, and that's what the Giants are doing. They continue to play not to lose and find ways to lose. 4th and 4, halfway through the third quarter, on the Atlanta Falcons 39. The Giants, they needed a score there. They were trying to get the lead, and he decided to punt the ball. He had some weird quotes that I'm not even going to read because it's just upsetting to read stuff like that. He essentially said he was trying to win the position battle, and the wind was blowing out of that end zone, so it would be tough for the Atlanta Falcons to muster up a drive and kick a long field goal. Just absolute bullshit. I'm tired of Joe Judge and the coach speak after the game. The Giants fans, they are way too intelligent for this, and it is honestly disrespectful that he continues to say the things that he does after Giants losses. But I want to hear what you guys have to say. Somebody's getting fired after this year, or maybe even throughout the year. So go down and get your votes in. Pick one to fire. If you think it's going to be Joe Judge, go down and type your JJ for Judge. Go down and type DG if you think it's going to be Dave Gettleman. Or if you want both of them out of here, go down and type your B's for both. There's a lot more New York Giants football to talk about. There is still 14 games left on this schedule, and I will continue to do that on my Twitter. So go and hit me up at @MarshallGreen_. I'm sending out tweets about the Giants almost on the hour. And if you want to hit me up with questions about a potential mailbag that we will be filming later in the week, send me a DM. Just hit me up on Twitter at @MarshallGreen_.